Hey, sorry about that. That was way too serious. My name is Eric Barnett. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Eric Barnett Cycling. This video is about the FTP test I took in Zwift. FTP stands for Functional Threshold Power, and it's a measure of how much power you can hold over the course of 20 minutes. It's a really good benchmark for your overall fitness, and it can be used for pacing yourself in an endurance ride. I'm recording the audio here at where I do my podcast because I had something wrong with the cameras and the audio was just garbage. So this might be easier to hear as well. During the test, I was panting and trying to talk. I was live streaming it at the same time, and that can sometimes be hard to understand and put up with. So let's dive into this FTP test. All right, so we have the test just beginning right now. You see me over there in the corner kind of rambling on, saying what's going on. So this FTP test is something Zwift does at the very beginning of a training program. So it can kind of tell where you're at and what to throw at you as far as training. It's basically going to be a 5-minute free ride at the beginning, sort of a warm-up. It's going to give me some hints on what to do cadence-wise. And after those 5 minutes, it's going to basically start me at 100 watts, which is power. It's how much power you're putting out with your pedaling. And every minute, it's going to start bumping up 20 watts at a time. And basically, you just ride until you can't ride anymore. So they call this the ramp test because it starts you at 100 watts and it builds you up 20 watts at a time until you can't ride anymore. There's many different FTP tests that exists. They suggest beginners to try out this ramp test. Other ones are asking you to just go full out for 20 minutes, and that's hard to understand where you need to be. This ramp test, although it may not be the most accurate thing, and there's plenty of riders and science and coaches that say, the ramp test isn't the best thing or Zwift isn't the best thing, but if you're a new rider or new to Zwift or new to training with power like myself, this is a great place for you to start. All right, here we go. The test is about to begin. As you can see, it kind of takes me a second to figure out how to ride the power it's asking me to ride. I've noticed with Zwift, I'm very comfortable in riding what I always ride, which is probably about 85 RPM cadence-wise, and then somewhere between maybe 140 and 200 watts as far as my output. So riding at these cadences it asks for is actually a little difficult for me. Something I've since discovered is it's not that I have to exactly hit 100 watts. It's more important that I'm just not turning the numbers red. So when you're initially taking this test, don't stress it that you're not exactly hitting that cadence that it's calling for. Just try to make it so you're in the range. Numbers aren't turning red. It's when those numbers start turning red that it's going to kick you out of this test. You should have your trainer in what is called erg mode, which essentially it turns off all the gearing and it lets the trainer kind of normalize with the cadence to put out the wattage that you're putting out. So at about 120 watts, I'm still doing fine. I'm sort of able to talk through all this stuff, anywhere between probably 140 and 200. I do think maybe doing the live stream and talking and everything, it may skew this test because I am using my lungs, I'm using my lung capacity, and I'm wasting kind of good air, good breath on talking to a live audience. Be it as it may, the reason I'm doing this channel is, doing the live streams and everything is to motivate myself. It is also to show other people, what can be done in Zwift, what it's all about. So, there is an argument to be made that I shouldn't be talking during this, that I shouldn't be live streaming it. I do have some headphones around my neck because at some point, when it starts to get intense, I will sort of stop talking, throw on some music, and really get into it. One thing I really wasn't used to or necessarily even prepared for was during this FTP test. I thought I would be on a course alone. I thought I would be on sort of a flat course or have something that's sort of an endless runway to ride on. I didn't realize I would still be riding amongst all these other riders and have them passing me and giving thumbs up. It is a bit distracting to see that, especially, you know, if you're used to riding in Zwift and you're generally used to giving thumbs up back to people, and they call it ride on, and you know, trying to catch people that zoom by you or trying to chug up a hill or do a downhill. So that portion of it takes a little bit of getting used to. Here it is telling me not to let my heart rate get away from me and relax my breathing. And I'm talking to people trying to be exciting in a live stream. All right, just so I don't get my heart rate all out of shape and my breathing out of whack, I'm gonna throw on the headphones and concentrate for a while. Things are about to get entertaining. Yeah, this is the point where I decide I'm gonna put my headphones on and I'm gonna sort of concentrate a little better. You know, again, 200 watts isn't really tough for me. It's actually tougher to hold 200 watts than it is to surpass it, honestly. So I'm not having a ton of difficulty riding around the 200 watt level. The real issue for me, the hard part, is consistency. I can, you know, spike all the way up past 700 watts for a very brief amount of time, or I can ride in the 300 to 350 watt range for a few minutes at a time. The issue is the consistency that this is asking for. I'm just used to riding at 85 RPM, and when it gets to a hill, I'll kind of adjust my gearing and maybe slow down a few, or when it's a downhill, I'll either stop pedaling or ride away, you know. This holding the wattage is the hardest part for me during this test. While we're waiting for it to get to the fun part where I'm, you know, suffering and dying and falling off the bike, be sure you like and subscribe. I don't know, I think I'm supposed to say that. Eric Barnett Cycling is the Facebook and the Instagram. I always love those little shots of dopamine. All right, we got that taken care of. Let's get back to it. Here I am starting to suffer a little more. It's not so much the riding 240 watts, it's the, you know, building up to it and sustaining it and trying to keep it even. So that kind of concentration combined with talking and all the things going on in the room at that time kind of build up and give a little fatigue.
This isn't that hard, it's just the maintaining.
I'm definitely suffering at this point. It's the holding it steady.
So hard to ride steady.
You know, you can hear me huffing and puffing away, and I'm still kind of talking to the camera, but it's more talking to myself. If there wasn't a camera and a live stream going on, I would still be kind of talking to myself right now.
Oh, we're Mr. Brightside.
I had to cut in right now. I was listening to The Killers. I think it was an early 2000s record, and
I want to ride faster than Mr. Brightside.
For some reason, that's a record that really pumps me up on a bike. There was a live stream I did back in November where, kind of testing out the live stream, I rode the Uber Pretzel, and when it got to the hills, I put on The Killers, and it got me through it. I'm only kind of talking occasionally when I got to pump myself up to do the next thing. You know, when it's actually holding something and it gets difficult, I'm not making any noise at all besides just concentrating.
Come on. Come on. I can't stay at the wattage. Oh, man.
340 kicks in. That's when I'm really starting to suffer. It made me change this other gear, you know, not physically on the bike, but within myself, this other gear to kick it up to 340. And when I got there, it was actually hard riding 340. It was a little easier to ride a little higher. So, you know, getting that consistency right again was a tough thing for me. And trying to hold it at 340 and not bumped up it to 360 or 380, that just takes it out of you. I say a couple times during this live stream, I think they know what they're doing at Zwift, and they definitely do.
It's not the power that gets you, it's how long they want you to do it.
You know, I was averaging 360 when I was supposed to be riding 340, and when the time came to bump up to 360, kind of riding it already had taken all of it out of me. So we'll see how much longer I can hold on for. For those of you who like to watch suffering, you should be enjoying this. Not sure who is still watching at this point in the live stream, or, you know, if they were laughing at me, but, you know, this is kind of hard to watch now.
It's gonna be. No.
There I am. I'm tapping out. I'm deciding I'm done. But here's something I didn't know about. I didn't realize that when the point comes that you're done, stop pedaling. So if this is your first time taking this ramp test, when you hit that wall, stop pedaling. Zwift's going to ask if you're done. Just confirm, hey, I'm done. I thought I had to ride all the way up to, the end of the test. It kept saying finish in 23 minutes. I thought I had to maintain as much power as possible for these last 23 minutes or else it wasn't going to give me a good result.
What do I do if I'm tapping out?
So knowing that, I do expect a little bit different result just because of that. I didn't anticipate that you just give it all you got and then you quit. So, knowing that the next time I go into this ramp test, I do think that alone is going to give me a couple more watts. And this is all just suffering for no reason. This is not knowing, not doing research. Just if you're doing this, like I said, stop when you're done. You can see I'm still here just riding away saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. There comes a point where I'm just like, you know what? I think I'm supposed to stop.
Let's try something.
Okay, here we go. Finally. I just finally decided I'm done. And see what pops up? A little thing that just says I'm toast. It knows.
Oh, there's an I'm toast button.
It knows I'm toast. So yeah, you just click on I'm toast. It'll tell you your FTP right away. My FTP was 274. Who knows what it could have been knowing the few things that I know now going into this test. Does give you a little bit of a cool down at the end to make sure you're getting all that lactic acid out of your legs and you're not going to hurt yourself by just getting right off the bike and stopping. So as you can see, even though, doing this test, I got to the point where I was absolutely toast, couldn't put out any more power at all. Once the test itself stopped and I went back to just cooling down, I can get right back into riding. I don't feel like my endurance is the problem. I just need to improve my power. I need to work on, maintaining higher power, maintaining different cadences than the 85 I'm used to. I'm really interested to see what Zwift has in store for me in improving all those things. There's not much to see for the rest of this. It's just a 10-minute cool down, cooling the legs off and getting my heart rate back down and ending it all up. So let's go back to Eric at the microphone. Well, that was my first ramp test in Zwift, functional threshold power. If you're a new rider or new at training in Zwift or training with power, and you want to try one of these workouts in Zwift where, it takes you through, I'm doing what's called the 6-week FTP builder. This is a great test for you to take, the ramp test, and plenty of other resources online for you to watch about how to take these. There's a lot of information that I learned in this that the next time I take this in 6 weeks, I'm going to bring all that stuff, and I know that alone is going to improve my FTP. So thanks for hanging out with me today. Once again, my name's Eric Barnett. I'd love it if you liked and subscribed and did all those good YouTube things. That's how I get my dopamine. Part of the reason I started this channel was, it kind of becomes my accountability doing these live streams and doing these videos and, kind of getting encouragement from the people watching these videos. So if you're out there too, hit me up, drop some comments in there. I'll check out what you're doing as well. But until then, I have some workouts to do. Catch me on the live stream. See you later.